Welcome back everybody to Moderate Mods, and today we're taking a look at the 1991 Peugeot 205 Rally, and yeah, this is going to be the car that we're going to slightly modify, see if we can make it any better. Although I have to say that I have very little in the way of problems with this car, but yeah, there's definite room for improvement given it's extremely lightweight, and yeah, even though it has a good amount of horsepower for its weight and size and obviously year that it was out, definitely get more from it, I hope. So yeah, let's take a look at the car first, where we're going to be in C class. So yeah, it's got fairly decent stats, a really good launch, extremely good handling and braking, not the best acceleration or top speed because it only has 99 horsepower and 87 pounds-feet of torque from its 1.3 litre inline-4 naturally aspirated engine, but it does only weigh 1,742 pounds, so yeah, that horsepower and torque really isn't put all to waste because it weighs very little. But yeah, acceleration and speed could definitely be better for such a lightweight car. So yeah, let's get onto the circuit and see what this car can do in stock form, and yeah, then we'll give it a shot in the garage, and then we'll come back here and see how much it's improved in terms of overall time. So yeah, let's get on with our 3 laps and yeah, see what this car can do. So it's a really rather high revving inline-4 engine. It's a great noise as well. And yeah, like I said, I don't really have any problems with it, but I just can see this being the kind of car that would get modded in some regard. A lot of lightweight, small French hatchbacks always do get modded, especially in the UK. So yeah, it only feels natural to me to at least take a look at a 205, especially since yeah, it's been a long time coming getting one of these more normal road-going cars on the on a Forza game. Obviously, we've always had the T16 on Forza games. Pretty much any Forza game we've always had the T16. But that's a mid-engine all-wheel drive version of this car, homologated for rallying, so yeah, it's hardly as similar to the standard road car. And even though this was a special variant, it still is more like the standard road car, front-wheel drive, front engine. You still have seats in the rear, still a usable car every day in terms of practicality and everyday road use, so yeah, it's as close as we're going to get to a standard 205 or even the GTI. And yeah, 1 minute 18.478 is our first lap time there. Pretty decent, especially for a car with less than 100 horsepower. But even though this does have less than 100 horsepower, it makes the most of it with that lack of weight and the excellent handling and braking, because you can pretty much just be flat out with this car around corners and be safe in the knowledge that it's going to hold in there. It's got a really good amount of grip. The suspension isn't under undue weight from the weight of the car overall, and because it's so light, the brakes are even more effective than they would otherwise be. You can really just stick it into a corner and it's hanging on there. There's really very minimal understeer. Certainly not going to have any torque steer from a 99 horsepower engine as well, which is something we'll have to try and avoid when we come to grading it at when we get into the garage. That's the time of 1 minute 9.069 seconds. So more than 9 seconds quicker than we were on our first lap. Not sure if this is only a 5-speed or a 6-speed, but if it is only a 5-speed, then we'll probably look at upgrading the gearbox to a 6-speed, just to make the most of whatever we're going to be getting out of the engine. You can see how good this car is in terms of handling, that we're keeping up with a rear-wheel drive, more modern, more powerful Mazda MX-5. Granted, that's going to beat us on the straights just because it has more power, but we're certainly as good as, if not better, in the corners, which is always good. So yeah, there we go, 1 minute 8 seconds, .218. Not a massive improvement over our second lap time there, but an improvement nonetheless. So yeah, let's get into the garage and see what upgrades we're going to give this car. So here is the car in all its glory, and it is a really rather small and little hatchback, to be honest. But as you can see, it's still a practical hatchback at the end of the day. It's not got an engine in the middle like the T16, and yeah, it's all very reasonable. But that's the point of this car, to be as simple as possible, but providing the performance that you really rather need. So here's the acceleration times in stock form: 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds, 0 to 125 seconds, and a top speed of 121 miles an hour, which is still fairly reasonable. But yeah, there's definitely more that can be done to this car in terms of acceleration and speed. And yeah, we're going to first look at the handling aspects. Obviously the brakes are still fairly good because, you know, it doesn't weigh anything, but there's no harm in making the braking even better. So we'll give it street brakes, we'll give it street suspension, we'll give it sporty anti-roll bars up front and rear, just to make it a little bit sharper in the corners. We'll give it a street clutch, we'll give it a race driving line, and gearbox I think can go, that ruins the launch, it seems. We'll leave it as 5-speed then. We're not going to be making this car massively more powerful, so I don't think we really need any extra gears. As a result, we'll make 2 15s up front and 2 25s up the rear. So just slightly wider, provide a bit more grip in the corners. Don't think we can do anything visually that will, yeah, just rally extras really. If you want to make it look like a rally car, then there you go. Engine swap wise, you know, you've got a massive 300 horsepower engine or a 200 horsepower 1.8 litre inline 4 turbo. I think that's actually the engine out of the T16, to be honest. So it's tempting, but I want to keep this as simple as possible and add in a turbocharger and a bigger engine and more than twice the horsepower and an extra 100 pounds-feet of torque or thereabouts. Really doesn't seem to be keeping it all that simple as far as I'm concerned. So we'll upgrade the engine itself. We'll do the modest kind of things. We'll give it a sporty intake manifold throttle body, give it sport ignition, give it a street exhaust, and we'll give it street valves. So we've gone up 31 horsepower there and about 20-ish extra pounds-feet of torque, so yeah, that's a reasonable amount. And then we'll give it a street flywheel to knock a couple of extra pounds off. And there we go. I think that'll be enough, to be honest, so let's install it. So yeah, we weigh a little bit more by 13 pounds, that's due to the wider tyres, but we have 31 extra horsepower, and as you can see we're 0.1 of a G better in terms of lateral G, and we've gone up 80 PI, all for only 16,350 credits, which really isn't all that much whatsoever, especially in the context of this game. You can spend well over 100 grand on cars and upgrades alone with this game, so yeah, that's all good. So yeah, now we're doing 0 to 60 in 7.910 seconds, so we're more than nearly 2 seconds quicker to a 60. We're doing 0 to 118.280 seconds, so we're more than 6 seconds quicker to 100. And we're now doing 123 miles an hour, so only a couple of miles an hour more on the top end, but we're going to get there a lot faster and yeah, better in terms of handling as well. So we're going to be able to make more use of that power. So yeah, let's get back to the circuit and see what this car can do. So we're still in C class, but there you can see the stats are massively improved. We're about 0.7 of in terms of acceleration better. We're slightly better in terms of launch. We're better in terms of braking and handling. Speed stat hasn't gone up at all because we've only gone up a couple of miles an hour in actual speed, but we're going to get there a lot quicker and yeah, be able to maintain speed through the corners better because we've got the better handling. So yeah, let's see what it can do. Obviously you can go a lot crazier, as we saw with the upgrades in this car. You can get 300 horsepower by just putting a different engine in it, or 200 horsepower by putting the T16 engine in this, but yeah, it's all about keeping things a little bit more moderate in this series. And the big worry would be with those engines is providing, giving the car more understeer, giving it more torque steer, and you really don't want that in a car that weighs as little as this, and is obviously a road car. It's meant for everyday use. So you want to keep the mods to a point where, yeah, you want to make it faster, you want to make it better handling, maybe even sound better, but you don't want to be going so overboard that you end up changing the characteristics of the car, changing how it is able to be used or anything like that really. So yeah, keep it simple, change it enough. Already can feel it being a damn sight faster, to be honest. Shame we couldn't give it a extra gear, which probably would have increased the top speed, but the launch was completely ruined. Yeah, don't want a car that's hard to set off the line with, because again that would make it unfriendly and unusable on a day-to-day basis, to be honest. So yeah, 1 minute 12.256 seconds is our first lap time. It's about 6 seconds quicker than we were in our first lap. Come on, we're beating the Mazda already. We're struggling to keep up on our first couple of laps at least. Difference 31 horsepower and some handling mods make. Obviously I would have liked the car to at least been the same weight it was in its stock form, but then that would have meant going overboard with, you know, weight reduction and whatever. At the end of the day, the extra horsepower and torque has made a difference, as you can see. 1 minute 5.682 seconds, so that's not only quicker than our second lap time, but also quicker than our third and final lap time. See if we can increase that time by any more, or decrease it even. Barely have to touch the brakes to get this car under control going into the corner. Still got that lovely sharp turn in as well. Those wider tyres aren't making it more difficult to turn. Which can be the case sometimes if you put extra wide tyres on a front wheel drive car. No improvement on that third and final lap, unfortunately, but that is still a cracking time. 1 minute 5. Oh, I don't even know where I'm going. Where's my parking spaces again? 1 minute 5.682 seconds, whereas our fastest time in the stock car was. Hang on a minute. Let's park up. Fastest time in the car with this in stock form was 1 minute 8.218. So we're not far off 3 seconds faster, which doesn't seem like a massive amount, but as you saw with the Mazda Ghost car there, we were beating it regularly, whereas in the stock car we were struggling to keep up with it. On at least the first couple of laps, we weren't far behind on our third and final lap, but it got away from us on the straight, which is obviously because we had less power, less torque, and less handling going into the corner before the final straight. So yeah, all of that came together to make us not just faster, but also more enjoyable to drive, and also quicker than a car that is far newer, far more powerful, and probably better balanced because it is rear wheel drive. So yeah, really rather impressed by how few little mods we've had to do to this to make it even better than it already was. And it was already a great car anyway. It's easily one of my favourite hot hatchbacks we have on this game, especially from before the 2000s. So yeah, just a little over 16,000 credits worth of mods, and we've made it a MX-5 beta. So yeah, there we go. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.